bouncing all over the place as far as uh doing like all sorts of different stuff on different platforms and I just realized too, I don't think I actually even have my proper camera. Can you see me in our call?
No, I can see like the black like screen and it's circling, but
Oh,
that's all I can see.
crazy. Okay, okay. I know
Yeah.
exactly how to fix this then. All right. Man, I'm so discombobulated, it's ridiculous.
No,
Uh
dude, don't worry about it.
yeah, it's been a month, I think.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
well, yeah, roughly a month, last few weeks, either or.
Right, right. Man. Okay, now it's being a total butthole. Oh
Of
no.
course.
Of course it is. Yeah. That's so funny. Well, welcome back everybody. I guess if you want to see me on camera, you're just going to have to watch the stream then. Yeah.
You're good. You're
We're
fine. It's
we're
all good.
so we're back with a part 2 talking to Sera, one of my
Oh.
patrons. And yeah, we covered for the first time we talked for like an hour and a half, just kind of like getting your backstory and stuff like that. And
Yep.
today we have some new art. This is some of your art.
Yeah, it's like another one of those like collaborations. I don't know which one you chose, but you chose one of them.
With the girl in the striped dress sitting on the dude's lap who looks like he has a cyber arm.
Yes, so that one comes with a very good story, and I'd be more than happy to tell you about it.
Yes, tell me.
So that one comes from the Romanian artist on Etsy. I think she discontinued or she's taking a break because she was actually pregnant when we were talking about it.
Okay.
So the story pretty much wraps around this type of concept, I would say, or this tribute, I should say, more better word. So I was dating this guy named Majors, not his real name, but we'll call him that, named Majors. And he was around your age, Mr. Jeff. He was around your age. And me being much younger,
Mm-hmm.
but being more mature in my age, we very much clicked in that way. We met through a server on Discord.
Okay.
We never really talked before. And we kind of just found this very unique bond is that at the time in my early 20s, I really wanted to go to Australia, specifically seeing Adelaide and Victoria,
Hmm.
because mainly just the idea of its beauty, because I was also dating somebody else that was living there. And again, just being long distance, it is what it is.
Right.
And me and that person obviously didn't work out, whole other story, but we just didn't work out. But I still always kept the concept of the beauty of wanting to go, having aspirations to go, and always being told by the people that I was working with at the time at my old job where I used to be a commercial mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much like a secretary meets a mechanic type of girl.
Huh.
So yeah, the weirdest of jobs, but it was called a commercials parts pro. That was the position's name. So then I would sit there for like 12 hours a day working, slaving away.
Right.
And I never let go of the concept of I'm going to go to Australia. I'm going to go to Australia. And I set a date. And I remember the date was the month after my birthday. So
Okay.
I'm a Taurus baby. Yeah, so I'm a Taurus baby in May, May 15th to be exact. So I would have gone the June 15th and stayed for an entire month.
Mm.
And that was during the pandemic. Now you gotta mind you, that's during the pandemic. So with all the restrictions happening not only in our country but in their country, which is much more worst, they had so much new ruling every other week. So I had to go on the federal website for Australia specifically since it's chopped up
Right.
and like look up like the new restrictions. That's why I had to get the COVID, excuse me, the COVID vaccine, the booster, all of that, just
Right.
to be able to fly over there. And that's when I think I spoke to you about it last time we talked. So what ended up happening, this is the chunk of story that was left out. So I
Right.
was dating Majors for about 2 years, right? And obviously through these 2 years, I was suffering from my deafness. Later on, I had the surgery, and he was there for that surgery. He was the man that I was saying that was on my little pocket, that he just heard everything, and he was just that supportive guy. He's that guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yep, he was that guy. And we were dating for, like I said, about 2 years, I'd say, roughly, and we were coming up on those like important dates. So this particular commission was of his avatar and my avatar.
Mm.
Now my avatar is naturally of like a I wouldn't say like a gangster or like a floozy, but more of like the dramatic version of a flapper, but just more cyberpunk kind of thing, or
Sure.
steampunk more and less.
Yeah, yeah.
And his is the same thing. He had some disabilities and some short sighting, which is fine. I don't care. So it mainly do with his arm and his knee.
Hmm.
They weren't the best, so that's why he would have cybernetic parts. He would be like half cyborg, and plus he was just a nerdy guy at heart. He did 3D printing. That's another reason why we really got along, because I found that very fascinating.
That's cool.
So yeah, so I sat. I can remember that weekend because I was making decent money working where I was,
Yeah.
even if it was hard, hard time. So I was sitting there sketching it, drawing up the concept, kind of like little collage, and I sent it to the Romanian artist on Etsy. And she was very nice and very, like very forthcoming with what ideas was just pretty much a pass off of back and forth, back and forth. And I showed her what I wanted. I showed her exactly meticulously what I wanted, and how it pretty much that ended was it ended right after my surgery. So he was dealing with a lot of emotional things, especially since he was a recent divorcee when we met, and he
Oof.
was dealing with a lot of that emotion.
Yeah, yeah.
So so he was very much like in a very negative headspace, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Majors is a very typical, like my dad, like a very like robotic straight guy. Like he doesn't care, he really doesn't give a shit about feelings that much or emotionally based,
Okay.
but he cares enough to consider those around him, especially since when him and I were together, and even now that we're still good friends. Because what ended up happening was that after my surgery, and I was remember this very distinctly, after my surgery, I was laying down and I was watching Twitch with another person, a very close, a past close friend of mine that we both shared in common, was watching them, and Majors was texting back and forth, and it upset him. Something was said that just upset him.
Mm.
So it kind of just set him. I just set him off immediately, and I was left with being that punching bag of like putting down, especially when I'm in the state of recovery. Now, what ended up happening was that I got upset, and then it just kind of obviously went off there, and we just broke off. And I was very upset with him for a very, very long time. I would say about 8 months, I was upset with him,
Sure.
until eventually one day he came back. He says, "Listen, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Why are you sorry?" He's like, "I'm sorry for what I put you through. That was really shitty of me to do." And then him and I, just like adults should be,
Mm.
keyword is should be, we came together. And he says, "Listen, I'm sorry if I was a shitty guy to you. I'm sorry if I was a shitty boyfriend to you. I'm sorry that, I talked a big talk and never truly, we never got to fulfill those dreams,
Right.
and I know how much it meant to you, and I know how much you felt for it. I know how much you loved me, and how much you still probably, may feel that same way." And he's like, "I would completely understand if you just never wanted to talk to me again." And I said, and I was dating somebody at the time, and I said, "Well, currently I'm at the time in a happy relationship."
Yeah.
And I felt very conflicted with my emotions, to where, I still loved him. I still cared for him.
Sure.
That doesn't go away naturally with that. But at the same hand, I was with somebody else, and I just told him, like, "Listen, and he was really happy for me." He's like, "Well, I'm happy you're happy, Sarah." Like, he was genuinely happy for me. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't malice, it wasn't negatively, it wasn't even in a spiteful nature. It was like he's like the one person out of so many people that I've met in my life that has never done anything negatively to be spiteful,
Yeah.
hateful, or just to be a lack of maturity in their own emotional growth. And that really surprised me at that age. Like, even now it still kind of does. I'm like, wow, he's the only guy that actually took some type of accountability for himself,
Right.
and like came back, even once he got helped and he was all better, or at least he was working on himself. He actually came back and admitted his faults. I'm like, that's fucking surprising to me.
It takes a lot of
Like,
strength to
holy
do that.
shit.
Yeah. It definitely does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
there
that's what, and then again, that's why, go ahead.
it's it's hard too because we live in this a much more globalized world. We have this ability to reach out and talk to people we otherwise would never ever meet, and
No.
we do form really strong bonds and relationships over the internet. I mean, shit, even like back in my day, of early internet times, that was
Mm-hmm.
pretty common as well. And you
Oh
never really know
yeah.
because like back then, if you met somebody online, it was very very rare that you would actually ever meet them in real life. And
Oh yeah.
as things have kind of progressed, it's a lot more normal now to have these deep emotional
I would say so.
attachments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to actually like get around, eventually meet people and that sort of thing. And
Oh yeah.
I think it's become a lot more real and a lot more valid than it used to be. Used to be, people would like talk down on that kind of shit so much, and these
Oh, they
days,
still do. They still do.
do they?
Yeah, so like I'll give some more context. So when me
Yeah.
and him were together, right? We says he's from Australia and I'm from Michigan, obviously. So
Hmm.
I was gonna plan to go there, but he says, well, if we can't do that, then you just want to have like a weekend getaway in Hawaii. I'm like, fuck yeah, I do.
Hell
That's
yeah.
fucking Hawaii, dude. Fuck yeah. Because it's close to me and it's easy for you.
Yeah.
We could just meet in the middle. And he's like, yeah, I could wear my little Hawaiian shirts and like you could be my sugar mama. I'm like, shut up. You were 13 and a half years older than me. Stop it. He's like, what? I can't have a nice hot sugar mama on the side? I'm like, dude, stop. So we would always used to joke about that. And that was
Yeah.
like really genuinely how we brought ourselves up. We didn't care.
Right.
We just saw each other as equals at the time.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. When I was shit, I think it was 18 was the first time I ever met somebody from online. I used to play Muds. Do you know
I've
those are?
never heard of that game.
Yeah,
No.
well, there were Muds, Mushes, Mucks, very very early shit. It was like role
Hmm.
playing games, but it was all
Yeah.
text. So you would have to
Hmm.
like type out a paragraph of what your character says and what they're doing, and then the other people in the room and like everybody just kind of like goes through and does that sort of thing. Muds were a lot less like role playing. They had like combat systems and stuff. Very nerdy shit.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
the very first time I met somebody from online was this woman. I think 18. She was 32 and a stripper, and actually surprisingly very, very pretty. She brought her
Hmm.
husband, who she was separated from, which was also weird, and
Yeah.
her friend, who was this Hispanic power lifter who was about 5'3", but he was like 5'3"
Jesus.
tall and like 5'3" wide. Like it's just this fucking brick of a guy, nicest guy in the world. And it was the strangest thing because like we were all gonna go out to eat at I think like Applebee's or something, and she's like, Jeff's gonna
That's
ride in
quite the
my
crowd.
car. Yeah, yeah, I know. Jeff's gonna ride in my car, and you two can ride in the other car, and like kicked her separated husband and his friend into the other car so she could have me alone, and I felt in danger. But nothing happened. It was totally fine. It's totally fine. So
Yeah.
Jeff was getting a Splenda mommy. Ah, okay. All right. That's pretty good, Azure Wolfie. I appreciate that.
I mean, like there are levels to that. There's like the Splenda mommy or daddy. There's honey. There's sugar. There's different versions. And he used to, Mage used to say, "You're a sugar mama because you got that fat stacks." I'm like, I'm only doing it to see Australia. I'm not doing it for you. He's like, well, I'll pretend you are, and that makes it even more special. I'm like, shut up. And now and again, he would catch me all red in the face because we used to video chat. He's like, I'm like, shut up. He's like, well, you aren't denying it
Yeah.
because we used to just do that little bullshit bicker. I'm like, we're not an old married couple. He's like, well, not yet. I'm like, stop,
That's too
stop
cute.
it.
Very, very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
jeez. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Pretty silly stuff. So I'm curious about this. So you were saying you were a secretary and a mechanic. So obviously I know
Mm-hmm.
what like being a secretary, basic secretarial duties and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what kind of mechanic stuff did you have to do on top of that?
So like where I used to work, the position was called a commercial parts pro. Now what a commercial parts pro, for those that don't know, is again, that's the best way to put it, is like a mechanic and secretary. So what they do, so it's like say you needed a car, right?
Yeah.
I would know it like off the top of my head, like what kind of car it is. Okay, '03, Dodge Charger. Okay, what part are we looking for today?
Mm.
I need a window pump motor. Oh, okay. Okay, and what are we comparative to other competitors? I mean, you can. I just want the cheapest shit. All right. And is it right or left? And you would tell me all that information. I'd be like,
Right.
and I would give you comparative prices to our competitors, give you our prices, give you the unit price, and and again, I did that with businesses because they would spend the most money.
Oh yeah.
And I would tell them on the phone, like, I can go as low as 350 or something, whatever it was. And they're like, could you do lower? I'm like, let me look. And I would go do my little math.
Right.
I can get it down to 100, and they'd be like, sold, and they
Nice.
would take it and they would buy in bulk. So then
Hell yeah.
if I wasn't on the phone all freaking day, I'd have to physically go out, do the batteries, change the window blades. But you'd be surprised how many men don't know how to do those things.
Yeah,
Like a little
that's
petite.
true. That's true. There's a ton of
Mhm,
people who just do not know how to do their fucking wiper blades.
mhm. No, like
Crazy.
little petite 5 foot nigga. What's up?
It's just crazy to me. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. But no, like this little petite, like again at the time I had blonde hair because I bleached it. So I would wear like just masculine clothes because again you can't wear girly clothes to work. So I just would wear like a masculine outfit, put it on, put my leather jacket on with all the little patches on it, come out with my little beanie that had my bleached strawberry blonde hair, and then like, all right, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And they would see me with the stool. They're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm gonna go put your fucking wiper blades and go fix your battery. Like, what do you think I'm fucking doing? Just sitting there looking pretty? They're like, oh, I kind of feel sort of bad that you're doing it. I'm like, do you want to learn how to do it? They're like, no. I'm like, then let's go do this because I don't got time to waste, you know?
No,
And
actually, I
then,
don't. What the fuck?
yeah, it'd be like people might, like, again, like your age, my older brother who's close to your age,
Mm.
you'd be surprised. And it's like, dude, this is basic maintenance. Like, you need to learn this.
Yeah.
Even if I personally at the time didn't have a vehicle, I still knew the basics of know what antifreeze to use, what color it should be,
Yeah.
change how regular to change it, what blades I'm supposed to be taking, how often your oil is supposed to be changed, what type of mileage is supposed to be on your car, meaning on how frequently you're supposed to change the oil filter and the oil and
Right.
all the other fluids. Like it was crazy. It got to a point where I was going into the shops because we were so low staffed. I remembered it was me, my general manager, and like two other employees, and
Yeah.
that was typically what we ran on to run a complete store. And I'm like, fuck me, you'd be there from like 6 a.m. to like
By the way, thanks for the resub,
6 p.m. at
Kisamane
night, and
and
you're
Mr.
like, God
Mumbles.
fucking damn it, you know? So you're just sitting there taking calls, and I would go to the shops and go see and go talk and just bullshit with one of the boys. They'd be sitting there having a beer, chilling on their day, on their break or whatever, or having their lunch
Yeah.
and going around doing little like inspections and stuff. And I would go and I would learn more. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
Yeah, I like that's the thing that I love about mechanical stuff is like the one of the best ways to learn like how something works is to do the repair and to like, be
Mm-hmm.
there while somebody's doing it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I've always known the basics of how an engine works. Like
Mm-hmm.
the basic like running theory. But it was only until me and my friends Matt and Ian we decided to start doing this motorcycle stuff and tearing apart engines and I'm like, now I know exactly how they work. Like
Oh, yeah,
that's how they
dude. Like
work.
literally during this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like during the spring and summer, that was our booming season because everyone's driving their nice cars out.
Hmm.
The oldest car I think I've ever been asked about was a 1920s, I think Ford, because he was looking for something it doesn't exist anymore,
Right.
and if it does, you have to have it custom made because it's so old. And
Yeah.
our system at the time only went back to like the 40s and 50s. That's it. That's all you could get.
Anything older
So I
than
think he
that,
asked.
you have to like have it fabricated to replace it. Yeah.
Either that or it's somebody that's just stashing it like chestnuts up a tree, man. Like,
Hmm.
you'd be surprised. But I think it was like a filter of some type. We just didn't sell it. And
Yeah.
I said, and then I looked at my competitor. I'm like, well, my competitor might have it. It says they do, but I would call them. It's mainly what my job was, is just being like what I am now. I'm a union steward for my other job.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much the bridge of like gapping information and doing like like I would say like a messenger. That's the best way to put that. A
Sure.
messenger of going back and forth with people. And my last job, like I said, it had long hours. I was making pretty decent money. I mean, close to 16, 17 bucks an hour. It's not that bad at that time.
Mm.
It was pretty good. But
Well,
I also
16,
didn't really
17.
have
That was back in what year was that?
2020, like when the
Yeah.
pandemic was
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, yeah. That's I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
No, I was bringing home after taxes. I was bringing home about 1,200 a week.
Holy
So
shit. That's really
bi-week,
good.
yeah,
That's really fucking
yeah, so,
good.
yeah. So like bi-weekly, I was bringing home let's say 2,400, maybe a little bit less. Just depends on what was going on.
Yeah.
Because I would just be there majority of the operating hours,
Yeah.
and I would just it's just the pandemic was a really wild time. I could say that much.
Yeah, no kidding. Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I still there's so many things that it wrecked and ruined, and it's been one of those things where I haven't really thought about it in a long time. For the past 3
Hmm.
months, it feels like almost every day something reminds me of it and reminds me how
Hmm.
broken so many things got because of it. It's really
Oh yeah,
wild.
dude, like legit, like when I was working during the pandemic, and so was most of my family. Like I don't know if you have ever like I don't know, well you're self-employed, so I don't know if you've known anybody, I should say, that had to have those little cards. Do you remember those cards? I think the government was issuing that says you couldn't stay out by a certain time, you had to be in by a certain time, and if you were going to go out, it had to be in an emergency, or you had to go be getting food or some shit like that.
Oh
You
no,
couldn't
no.
be out and about. Oh yeah, that's what my state did. My state had these little cards that you have to have punched. I'm fucking no joke. Our manager had to sit there one night and punch about, well, I would say 120 to 120 cars to make sure not only were we at the job, but we were doing our job, and then we were going home. Like that's how bad it was getting. That we had the little like it felt like I don't know if anybody or if you've even experienced yourself when you had those like little like yellow and green and red cards that to show you your behavior, because that's what it kind of reminded me of. Like yellow's like a warning, red's you're in trouble, and green's perfect. It's like
Oh, like back
what
in
the fuck?
school and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's how
yeah,
it
yeah.
felt. Like it just it was just, at least in my home state, it was so fucked. It was so fucked during
That's
that
wild.
time.
Yeah, no, they did.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think I don't think Oregon did the cards or anything like that. It was more. There was like a lot of societal pressure. Everybody was
mhm,
taking it very serious, especially here in Eugene. It was pretty nice as far as like people just kind of voluntarily, staying home and trying to stay out of the business. I
oh
took it
yeah.
upon myself to go drive around a lot, but I was driving around in my pickup truck wearing a gas mask, blasting the Fury Road soundtrack as
Oh,
loud
you're
as
an
I could.
ass. That's like complete ass behavior.
It it was great. Me and Ian would like pull up to a stoplight. There's nobody else on the road. Somebody and
Oh yeah.
just a few people here and there. They'd pull up to the same stoplight. They'd look over and both of us are in gas masks and dun 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 dun
Oh
dun
my
dun dun dun
god,
dun. It's just blasting out of the truck. It's great. It's so much fun.
dude, I could literally see if my brothers were younger, I could see them doing that.
Mm.
But thank God they were born in like the mid to early '80s, so they're old now.
I mean, I was born in '82. Just
Yeah, but
I'm
they're
always going to
they're.
be a child. That's all there is to it. I'm always going to be a child.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just some people grow out of it, some people don't, and it's fine. It's perfectly cool.
Hell yeah. Not me.
Oh,
Never. Never growing up. Never, never, never,
never,
never, never.
never growing up.
Never growing
But
up.
yeah, no, but no, that's where that picture comes from. It's mainly his character, his avatar, and that's what he looks like. He had like Majors would look like he had the little sunglasses because he's Australian, so you could tell that little robotic koala head. He didn't have any facial hair, or he didn't even have any top hair. He was just super lengthy, super tall, and was like just hairless. That's what he looked like, and I'm like, cool,
Right on. That's cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I picked that one because like I saw that there was like a cybernetic arm and that sort of thing, and I'm
Mm.
actually after shit, I don't even know, 2.5 years. I'm finally getting back into trying to play Cyberpunk 2077. Finally.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's that's been my wind down game lately, and I'm like, ooh, cyberware, ooh, that's cool. I want to know about that one. It's dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been playing Cyberpunk since I was like a little kid, so it's just one of those fucking things.
Yeah. No, we're like good. We'll speak, Sarah. Speak. There we go. Anyways, like that's like with me with Mortal Kombat. Like when I was dating one of my exes, he bought like it was just Mortal Kombat 11 just came out. It was like one of my birthday gifts he got me,
Oh,
and I used to just sit there every day after work when I used to work a different job. I used to sit there and play and kick people's asses. And I remember he would grab his other controller and I would just whip his ass. He's like, "How the fuck are you so good? And you don't play this fucking game that often, and you don't have your own system." I'm like, "Cause I grew up with this, dude. I grew up with brothers. What did you expect me to have?
oh yeah,
To not know
absolutely.
how to play?"
Especially if you play Katana, right?
Katana. So in that game, I was mained with Katana,
Uh huh.
Jade, and Scarlet. Scarlet and Katana were both my mains, and they're not the Katana's a little bit better than Scarlet, but just depends what you're using.
I'm trying to remember who's Mortal Kombat Scarlet.
Yeah, she was the rumored character. If you remember in Mortal Kombat 2, there was a red katana.
Oh
That was the rumor that she
yeah,
was Scarlet. But her
yeah,
backstory changed. In the original like rebooted timeline, she was more it was Mortal Kombat 9 or the rebooted Mortal Kombat 1. And she was like a warrior combined of like blood magic from Shao Kahn that absorbed blood. So her outfit made that's the thing that I didn't understand about that shit when the whole fucking SJW anti-feminist shit was going down. I'm like, are you guys not thinking about the mechanics of certain costumes? Like with Scarlet, it makes sense because she absorbs the blood because that's her attire. It's
yeah.
supposed to be skimpy because that's how she powers up. That's how she gets stronger.
Oh
Just
sure.
like Melina's supposed to eat people. That's her character.
Yeah,
And then they changed it, and I think it was 11. They changed it to where Scarlet was a street orphan in Outworld. I mean, it's rumored that she might have been human. I don't think she was because I know she's related to Melina and Ermac because Ermac's her brother and Melina's technically her sister through magic. And
right.
then, like I said, they changed it to where instead of just being a warrior combined of just warrior blood, like defeated allies of Shao Kahn and
Yeah.
mashed into a sexy hot girl, now she's like a street orphan that has weird daddy kinks for Shao Kahn, which is like, why?
Yeah.
Why? There's no need.
It's
There's no need.
I guess like maybe they took advantage of maybe there just wasn't a lot of backstory so they wanted to like expand upon it. I don't know. I just looked it up on
I don't know.
the Mortal Kombat 11 website, and yeah, I guess she was like a starving wretch before Shao Kahn anointed her in blood, reborn by sorcery with an insatiable bloodlust, and et cetera, et cetera. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, sure, sure. Fuck it. Why not? Sure. Fuck it.
I don't know. To me, I'm a diehard Mortal Kombat fan, which is like I liked it when the women felt empowered
Mm.
rather than like their outfits nowadays are so conservative, and I'm like, shouldn't they feel empowered by their skimpiness? I mean, that's sometimes part of the story, and even in and what is it, Adenia, and even Outworld, that's their culture. That's how they're supposed to dress. It's
Sure.
mimicking other cultures that did those things.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, like I totally hear what you're saying. It's what a lot of that kind of shit ends up being is like video games and culture. They, as much as they themselves should stand on their own, life impacts art quite a bit, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be like shifts and ebbs and tides in how art is expressed. You might have some dude who's like, you know what? They all got to be fucking fat stacks of mommy milker titties and big booty Brazilian asses wearing like fucking barely anything, man. Let's fucking do it. And like, I'm sure neither you or I would give a fuck, and hardly anybody else is really gonna give a fuck. But there will be enough people that they're like, you know, maybe instead we'll just try and do this for a while because culture's just not at that point where they're like into it anymore, and it kind of sucks. But
No.
it it is what it is. One thing we can always take refuge in if we want to have that kind of art, it's just play Soul Calibur.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Soul Calibur is still just hella slutty, hella slutty.
Yep. Palace sluts.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Woof. Yeah, the thing that always drives me crazy, I fucking love fighting games. Love fighting
Mhm.
games. Those are it is quite possibly my absolute favorite genre of video game. Never play them.
Mhm.
I
That's the
absolutely
only games I play.
I never play them. I have like a ton on my computer, but either the netcode for them is so crap or or which is more likely the case, I have no time to ever play them. Like
Mhm.
playing with people online or the timing doesn't match up. But I have like all these classic fighting games. I have a huge collection of different consoles and fighting games, and I miss being able to just sit down and beat the shit out of each other like side by side on a couch. But nobody will ever play video games with me. All my friends are not doing what I'm doing and staying young at heart.
Mhm.
They're all being boring old fucks, and it sucks.
Boring old fucks.
Yeah, they're all boring old fucks. All my real life friends are boring old fucks. You hear me, Matt? I know you're watching. You're a boring old fuck because you won't play Soul Calibur and Mortal Kombat with me, you boring old fuck.
Don't feel bad.
He's like,
Don't
hey,
feel
man,
bad.
we should just work on motorcycles. I'm like, no, I want to fucking kick your ass at Street Fighter, you boring old fuck. Anyway, sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Dang. Yeah, I don't know. So Mortal Kombat is your favorite though. What was the first Mortal Kombat game you ever played?
First Mortal Kombat game that I ever played that we did talk about in the last one was Mortal Kombat 2. I actually have a
Yes, that's
cosplay
right. That's right.
of
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah, of Mortal Kombat Katana that one of my good friends, and we're not friends anymore, but that's okay. He built me the mechanical like fans, like the little blade fans. He
Yeah.
built me those.
That's
Like he
cool.
actually because he's what is it called? A blacksmith at heart.
Yeah.
So he bought all the material. He bought all this nice like legit Japanese silk and shit. And we were like bullshit, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to. He's like, I don't have to do shit, Sarah, but I want to because I bought you that costume for your birthday, and I want you to wear it. So
Right.
then, like the fans, the way they are, you press a button on the back and it springs, so it's like nice, real bladed fans. I'm like, oh,
Oh.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
rad. That's cool as fuck.
Oh yeah, and like when I went to go see him in California one year, I think that was when I got my first hat, which is the Bride of Frankenstein. It was September, was it the 3rd of 2021, I believe.
Mm-mm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess when I was like in my formative years, the game that was fucking everywhere. And I think really the game that made fighting games what they are today was Street Fighter 2, cuz like that was even before the first
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat and shit, and like that just changed everything. Feels like almost everything's been like an evolution coming off of that.
Oh yeah.
Um, but it was I don't even know what the list is. I'm sure if there's like an exhaustive list, but did you ever see like how many iterations of Street Fighter 2 they made?
I want to guess because I remember playing Street Fighter. Like again, like I fighting games in general is just what I grew up with. Like in my childhood and even into my teenhood. So I want to say they've probably made, if I have to guess, like give
Mhm.
a rough estimate, I want to say about maybe 20 Street Fighter games, maybe a bit more,
Okay.
depending on like the crossovers. Because I remember there was a couple one with Marvel characters, and if I'm not, if I am correct, like with Deadpool and Wolverine was in them, and I'm like,
Oh
oh, this
yeah.
is kind of cool, I
Yeah, Marvel
guess.
versus Capcom. Yeah.
Mhm.
Those are dope. Let's see. So, okay. God damn it. I wanted to get a list of them in order.
Mhm.
Uh okay, where are you? Shit. You are not helping. Motherfucker. No, that's not it. Okay. Okay. So
Yes.
Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was Jesus Christ. Nope, that wasn't the right list either. You fucking piece of shit.
It's okay. It's
Oh my
cool.
god. I'm gonna fucking lose my
Today's just
mind.
not your day. Today's just not your day, Jeff.
I guess, dude. It's crazy. Oh, I see what this is. It's in the chronological order of when they happen in the world. Dude, fuck off. That's not what I want.
Uh,
Okay. Here it is. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2, then they say
mm-hmm.
it's Street Fighter 3 New Generation, but that's not true. There was Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Tournament Edition, Street Fighter Alpha,
Mm-hmm.
Street Fighter like Alpha Hyper something something. Like it was insane. They came out with like
Oh yeah,
8
dude.
or 9 different versions of it. It was so dumb. It's crazy.
That's what I noticed a lot of games did, especially in the early 2000s when everything was just racing games. Like I remember,
Oh god,
what game
yeah.
was it? Deception. Deception had like different versions,
Uh-huh.
and I could understand different countries having it, but like there was like the what was it called? The PlayStation, like, what is the fucking one that was like, it was like a Switch. I forget the fucking name of it. But it was like that one that you could play, like it's like a DS or like a Switch. You could use a PS
Oh,
product of some kind.
so they had two. There was the PSP and then the Vita?
It might have been both. I know that they made their own version of it because the graphics sucked ass, but it introduced two different characters into it, I believe. Like
Okay.
Serena was in it, and I think Quan Chi was in that game, I'm pretty sure. And I'm
Oh.
like, what the fuck?
Crazy. Was
Mm-hmm.
that let's see, for the Vita. I think it might have been the Vita. The
I remember
PlayStation Vita
it
port of
was a
MK9 is hideous. Yeah. Nah, yeah, that's probably it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it was like black, had like the PS logo on it, it had the little buttons, and I'm like, how the fuck, like I remember my brothers playing for that too, and I'm like, how is that enjoyable than just sitting down with a nice cold drink and maybe a snack or two and
Mhm.
just playing normal, you know? That seems more logical to me, at least.
Yeah, I hate mobile gaming. I don't know if you're like this, but like I hate mobile gaming. I hated my Game Boy. I hated my fucking I hated all of it. And
Mm-hmm.
I even got a Switch and I only ever used it at home, like docked into my TV. I hate
Mm-hmm.
mobile gaming. I will not even play a game on my phone. I refuse. Refuse. I won't do it. It drives me
Mm-hmm.
nuts.
Yeah, the only time I remember playing games is when my middle school and like a little bit of my high school years that I remember we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like they gave us our iPads. Like I remember because we were the first, I think, who was it? 2012, 2013. They gave us iPads, like brand new, fresh off the block. Excuse me, iPads. And the only reason we would download games is like when we were in like study hall, we were supposed to be doing our homework, but we didn't. All the kids would just kind of line up in a circle and just fuck off for the next 30 minutes of the morning, just playing like, those mobile games like
Yeah.
Tetris or Running Temple or fucking Subway, whatever the fuck that game
Subway
is.
Surfers
I'm
or
like, all
something
right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Subway Surfer, some shit. Like we would just dick off for 30 minutes because we were like middle schoolers. We're like, damn, we don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think God, there was you know what? There was one game I was willing to play mobile, and it was actually a ROM of Castlevania Symphony of Night. I would actually play that mobile, but that's just the greatest game ever made. So I mean, that's the
Mm-hmm.
what are you even gonna do with that? It's
I guess
stupid.
nothing at all besides play it.
Uh-huh. You're goddamn right. So what do you like these days? What do you end up doing when you have a lot of time off?
So like today,
Hmm.
I was working on the letters, and actually we were talking about that after, I got off the phone with you and talking with my friends. Mainly like we were just kind of bullshitting, and me that I'm naturally just kind of an arts and crafts girl, done it since I was a kid. I was like sitting there doing my scrapbooking, kind of just taking old like family photos like of my grandmother when she was a model, and just pictures of my grandparents in their wedding photo, and just kind of putting it together, just making it like nice and pretty, putting dates down.
Yeah.
And one of my pen pals, the one I mentioned to you, was sitting there and we were talking about, you know, the amount of letters and stuff. And she sent me photos of all the letters like in a box. I'm like, holy shit. She's like, there is 9 boxes of this shit, Sarah. What the fuck are you doing? Are you on crack? I'm like, I mean, I might as well be, man. That's a lot of fucking letters, my guy.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, it is. It's like 4 months of this shit. And we were just cracking jokes. But
Jesus.
besides that, her and I will make, oh yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of letters. But we like doing it. Mainly, if we're not doing those things, we tend to make jewelry for each other. She sends me a couple bracelets. She sent me a butterfly necklace that was all like handcrafted. It looks really pretty, actually.
Aw.
And she doesn't charge me a dime for it. She's like, hey, if you want to wear this and just shout me out when, you know, shout me out. I'd love some more business. I know you've supported me and I appreciate you with your support. I think I've had, let me see, got 4 necklaces from her. I got 2 or 3 bracelets from her, and I want to say a few other things as well. But besides that, it's just mainly with me. I'm more introverted, obviously.
Yeah.
I tend to just kind of stick around and just worry about my home, which is where I am. My little home, my little nest, is like my mom likes to call it, the nest.
Sure.
And we just kind of chill out. We'll go outside and sit around our little bonfire, like it's a little table. We can put propane on it, roast some marshmallows, just pretty much hanging out, you know, bullshitting.
Sure.
That's mainly what kind of I like doing. I like mainly just kind of sitting around, bullshitting, spending time with my family, because to me it's just more comforting than running out and doing like things I shouldn't be doing, you know? Or
like
just anything.
getting into trouble or something like that.
Well, like I'm not blowing up trailers. My brothers did that. I'm not doing that.
Wait, what?
My brothers blew up a trailer.
They blew up a trailer.
They blew up a trailer, so I'll explain a couple of those stories to give you context of why I am the way I am. So like one of my brothers was 19. He was with his girlfriend, or his ex-girlfriend, but his girlfriend at the time. And my mom just threw him out of the house. Just get the fuck out of my house for a few hours. I got shit I gotta do, right? So he fucked off. Went around to a local trailer park near me and was just chilling there, right? And it was really cold. So he wanted just to start a fire to keep him and his girlfriend warm. What he didn't account for was the baler was not going to insulate this little fire he was making, and it blew up the fucking trailer. Luckily, they escaped. And I'm legit serious. They left, but they didn't like realize the baler was gonna light the whole fucker on fire, and all you heard was boom. And the fucking police showed, the firemen showed, and they're like knocking on my door. My mom answers, it's like, and they don't even like exchange formalities. They're like, you know why I'm here, the police officer says. My mom immediately goes, grabs my brother, like, what the fuck did you do?
Yep.
My brother's like, you know, doesn't want to get in trouble. And the police officer says, like, dude, come on. You know, and he goes away for a little bit. And it's just, those are some of the things. And then, I mean, like, to give more context, I should say, another story I could say is when my brothers would have like obviously this would be in the early 2000s, they pretty much like in a way had like an underground, like, I don't want to say mob, but that's kind of like a little like, what would be the good word for this? Like a little sense of a community, like a
Okay.
little underground like handoff type of community
Yeah.
where like they were like they were the underlords of it all type of thing, and they felt very like enthusiastic with their positions of authority and power.
Sure.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, because as a kid, you don't know. And then as I got older, they would tell the stories, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, the fuck is this? And they would just be like, well, that's what we did when we were your age. I'm like, now I can see why you were always in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. God damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's you know, I set a few fires when I was a kid, but I never blew up a trailer. That's
Oh yeah.
that's
Well,
that's
no
up
one got
there.
hurt, luckily, but Just
Yeah.
the trailer got damaged.
I mean, nobody was in it, but it's
No, it
kind
was
of.
abandoned. The whole trailer park was abandoned for like years. They just went in there to kind of dick off for a few hours, and
Yeah.
again, it was cold. They lit the fire, and boom. Kind of reminds me of the local. We had actually I don't know if you heard about this. I don't know. I know in my community it was all over because I've seen articles everywhere. We actually had an industrial fire not too far from me, about a mile down the road, that fucking blew up, and it blew up 2 stores and damaged the rest around it.
Oh
It was
God.
crazy.
Jesus
Oh
fucking
yeah, like
Christ, dude.
I'm serious, dude. Like I'm legit serious. Like the store was called Goo, right? And and it's a whole thing. You could read about it. And mind you, it was like a day. It was Monday.
Okay.
It was Monday. I just, was in chill. I was actually in your server bullshitting with a couple people, and I'm like, I'm gonna get off. I'm a little tired. I have a little bad headache. I'm gonna go lay down. And then all you heard was boom, and I'm just passed the fuck out. My mom sees a midnight sapphire sky turn bright fucking orange. She's like, "What the fuck?" Because you could it like shook the house. You're like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Right. What
You
the
know?
fuck?
And then yeah, like all you see is this beautiful night sky, and it turns fucking orange. You're like, "What?" Immediately like, "What's going on?" And then all you see is you can continue to hear all these explosions, and you're just like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then you see all the smoke billow out. And my dad was just ready to, ready to go out there and go look. And my mom's like, "No, you're not going anywhere. You need to stay in the house." My twin sister actually and her longtime boyfriend ended up going in his car, going around the corner and seeing what the fuck was happening. Well, what was happening was there was an industrial fire that blew up 2 fucking storefronts because they were illegally storing barrels. I think it was like a chemical or two they weren't legally supposed to be having, and they were storing in it, and that's what caused the fire. So now you
Wow.
had so now you have vape pens, switchblades, canisters, all like literally sharp, razored, and under pressure debris shooting everywhere. It
Jesus
got so
Christ.
bad that I'm serious. Like it got so bad, Jeff, that they had to stop any. So it's right next to a road track, like the railroad. They had to stop trains from even entering for like a week or two. They had to just no train could go by there until it was all figured out. It got so bad, the White House called that city, which is literally just like I said, a mile down my road,
Yeah.
because my city's right next to that city. The White House called and says, "Do you need any help?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do. We would love some help cleaning up this mess." And it's just fucking wild. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? You know,
That's fucking
like,
nuts.
and oh yeah, and then better yet, the guy that owned the store owns several different other stores near my community. Currently, from what I've heard, he's left the country and gone to his homeland, which is in the Middle East. I'm like, dude, are you fucking serious right now? Like,
Yeah.
you understand you're not gonna be able to run. Like, you can't run away.
I
You
mean,
like the I think
they can't bill him if he's not in the States.
they can, because what ended up happening was a fireman got hurt. He didn't die, but he
Oh,
did get hurt. And because it a canister blew and it went straight through the car the front window, the little window, it went straight through there and he got glass in his eye.
oh shit.
And it did actually, oh yeah, and in like a quarter mile there was a 19-year-old that got hit in the head with a canister and passed away instantaneously. So it's like you're not getting away from that, dude.
Hmm. Man, that's
Mhm.
fucking nuts, dude. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of things to be said. I'm like, 'cause it's like it's one thing to be illegally storing that shit, but when you have a fire as big as that, because my mom could have, you could ask her if she was here, I would, but she literally thought we were getting bombed or something bad was happening, as in like we were getting attacked or it was a terrorist attack, because of how loud and how sudden and how close to home it felt. She's like, "What the fuck is happening?" You know,
Huh. Yeah, I mean
it was
that's
fucking crazy.
yeah, like the sounds of like an all of a sudden, like a war just erupted or something. Like did we
Oh
just
yeah.
get bombed or something? Is it time
Mhm.
is it finally
That's
time for the Red Dawn? Weird,
the
crazy
red.
shit.
That's what it looked like for a long. Because again, like I said, it went from dark blue, like a sapphire bright, to bright orange, and then all you saw was this black smoke going into the clouds. You're like, is the Antichrist here? Like, did he come for supper? Like, what's going on? You know, does
Absolutely
he need
nuts.
something?
Fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. That's so fucking crazy. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty fucking bananas. I
Yeah, I think that happened like a month or two ago. No, a month ago, because it was in the early. I think it was 3 weeks before we had our first interview. It was like the beginning of March, I believe.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never had anything like that. I've never experienced anything quite like that myself. I haven't even I don't think I've ever even been in a natural disaster.
Oh, I have. They suck.
What what
They
what
suck.
what kind of national blah, blah, blah. What kind of natural disaster did you have to make it through?
So we've had tornadoes. We've
Hmm.
had flash floods. So there was okay. I'll tell you about this story.
Okay.
This one's a safe story to tell. So my brother was dating a girl, and we were at her pool, and I remember it was like during hurricane season. It was whatever. Since I don't live near the hurricane rural area, we weren't really that concerned with it. But because of all the temperatures changing and the climate changing obviously very rapidly, it caused concern. So what ended up happening was my brother and his girlfriend, we were at our house, we were swimming. I'm having the time of my life as a little 9-year-old, and like all of a sudden the clouds grow purple. And they're like, okay, get out. It's about to start lightning. You need to get out. I'm like, okay, we get out. I'm in the car with her. My brother's in the front seat, and it starts like raining like literally more than cats and dogs, and it's like fucking rivers, like so much water. It went up to my knee as a little kid,
Holy
and I'm
shit.
like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening? As a girlfriend's driving, a flash of fucking lightning strikes the car like right in front of us as we're in the middle of fucking traffic and leaves like a little burnt impression on it.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
what the fuck is happening? Yeah, and I'm screaming as a kid. I'm like, am I gonna fucking, because it was a bright electric purple, like white in the center and purple was the expression. And I'm like, am I gonna fucking die today? Is that what's gonna happen? So then I finally the girlfriend pulls up to my home house home, or my home, and my brother gets me out as soon as he can, gets me out of the car. He says, just run up to the front door. Your dad should be in there. You know, just open the door and slam it shut so no water gets into the house. And we're like, okay. So then I go and do that, grab all my shit, run, and literally I'm trailing through fucking like it's like pushing me the other direction type of current of this fucking water. Mind you, I'm right next to a drain, like a storm drain,
Yeah.
and even that's like just getting overflowed with this grime and sludge. It's just pure fucking chaos. So then
Fuck.
I run finally up there, and it's a brownout. It's a brownout. There's nothing that can be used. Everything's kind of down, and I quickly change, and I start like again. I'm crying because I'm scared. I'm crying to my dad, and my dad's like, "What's wrong? What's?" And I explained to him the weather. He's like, "Don't worry. It's okay. It's just really bad flooding. Just make sure." And we go in the basement, make sure nothing's flooding down there, because we have an egress, like a fire escape egress, and it was getting so bad that the water was going to trail into the houses that way. So we had to block that off so it didn't flood our basement. It then eventually did flood, but not as bad as we'd have had if we didn't block off some of the entries, or some of the windows in the fire escape, I should say.
Right.
And then from there, it was just that it was like that for until like the next 2 days, until all the water escaped, because it was so much water that the drains just couldn't handle it, so it would puke it back out and then go back in. So it was a lot for those. I think it was the last week of August, because it was around a week after my sister's birthday. So that last week of August is usually when that devastation of weather comes in. But around that time, it was the same time, and it was just shitty. And then I remember we've had a couple of like tornadoes touch near me in my life. I remember we had our a big snow blizzards, especially in Indian River, like I mentioned. Snow does not like hell freezes over when you're in Indian River. I swear to God. But snowstorms, especially here, snowstorms, especially here, you'll get snow that it'll literally be up to your like waist. I remember the snow was so heavy one year that it broke our awning, and it just bent. into the V shape, and I'm like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
then we had to get, and the dog. We had a little pygmies named Princess.
Of
She was so
course.
happy because little pygmies named Princess. She was so happy because she just jumped on the little broken awning and started sliding off of it like it was a slide. I'm like, Princess, it's not a slide. You didn't earn anything in this. It's just snow. But she was still so happy.
Well, I think it obviously was a slide because Princess made it a slide.
Oh yeah, she was happy as well because she was like a little, but about the size of a small pizza box. She was having the time of her life in that snow.
Sure.
All you could see is little golden hairs, and it was just cute.
The closest thing I ever got to any kind of natural disaster. Why do I keep wanting to say national disaster? What the fuck?
National, yes, it's a national disaster.
National disaster. We got plenty of national disasters these days. Natural
Mhm.
disaster was when I first moved to New Orleans. Is right after Hurricane Katrina.
I
And
remember
so
that.
I got to see the aftermath. Like that was quite a thing to see. But I wasn't there for the hurricane, which I'm very, very, very glad I was not, because that would have sucked.
Oh yeah, I remember as a kid you had those like scholastic fucking news things, and they would tell you about the Hurricane Katrina, and I'm like reading it. I'm like, so why are we writing about it and not doing anything about it?
Yeah, it was
It
it was
was
some brutal
crazy.
shit. It was some really
Oh
brutal
yeah.
stuff. I mean, I was there 2.5 months after the no less than that. I think it was like somewhere between 6 and 7 weeks after the hurricane
Mhm.
happened. I mean, the whole city was effectively destroyed for about 3 or 4 years before they even really started
Mhm.
to fix anything. Now it looks great. Now it's gorgeous. It doesn't even look like the same place anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and I will be there in 11 days.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah, I'm excited for that. But it was pretty wild because a lot of the people that were there, some of the stories that they told were very overwhelming. Things that like
Mhm.
you can't really you can't really even relate to them. Like there's shit that's going on that these people are talking about, and you or I who didn't like live through it would never be able to understand. And it was an
No.
absolute trip. Um,
Oh
the
yeah,
uh,
I bet it was.
the woman who taught me how to cook, Miss Denise, she was telling me that on the third or fourth day, when the waters finally receded enough that people could walk in the street, it was still flooded, but
Mhm.
she was sitting on her balcony smoking a cigarette, and she looked down and she saw this guy with a wheelbarrow full of trash bags wheeling
Mhm.
it along, and it hit a pothole, and she saw a hand flop out of one of the trash bags. And he rushed over and like tucked the hand back into the trash bag, looked around, looked up, saw her, and just put his finger to his lips like you didn't see nothing, and kept walking along. And like that was common all over the city. It was wild.
Why was there a hand? What was in the trash bag?
A body, at least
Oh
one.
fucking hell,
Yeah. I mean, it was nuts, dude.
dude! That's like fuck.
They had so like we saw a lot of the crazy stuff if you watch like the news or you watch some of the
Mhm.
documentaries and things like that. But even those sometimes pale in comparison to like some of the stuff that was going on. I had a friend of mine who was not allowed to leave the parish, which is a county, the parish of New
Mhm.
Orleans. And they had told people to evacuate the parish to get out of the city. You should take this bridge, this highway. And then they
Mhm.
blocked the highway, and they wouldn't let anybody go from New Orleans into the nearby town of Metairie. Like they prevented them, they blocked them. Like you are not
Mhm.
allowed. You have to stay on this bridge. And the thing is, like, there's so many people that were carrying their dead loved ones that they just had to line the side of this bridge with bodies. And everybody else,
Dude, that's
yeah,
like
and everybody else had to just like huddle together in the middle of this highway, trying to like dry themselves off and share whatever they had just to stay fed, and just all the way down the road, just a line of corpses, just crazy shit, absolutely nuts. And for the most
that.
part, it's forgotten by the public consciousness.
Dude, that's like some fucking Call of Cthulhu type of shit right there. Like
Yeah.
some HP Lovecraft type of shit, man.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was so nuts. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was a very dark time. I don't know if I ever actually looked up at how many people died in Hurricane Katrina.
I think it was, I want to say at least a quarter or maybe less. I don't know. I know it was like over 100,000, I think, or maybe close to it. I know it was a lot.
Yeah, it's like the if you add in all of the extra shit on top of it, I mean, I'm sure it was
Mhm.
an unbelievable amount, you know.
Well, I think of it like this, like it's not just humans that died, but all the pets that died. That's why I believe it's probably inflated the deaths
Mhm.
because people don't count the pets that were displaced and died. Because like that see that's I feel like that's more tragic than a person dying, because a person can have the ability to save themselves, but when a poor little innocent cat or dog has no ability to rescue themselves, it's more fucked up, I feel.
Mhm. Well,
I'm like,
speaking of like the animal situation, which was so crazy. They like there's a lot of stories from New Orleans about what happened with the animals during Hurricane Katrina, but just for my sake, there's like two things that I can say about it. They're really wild. Number one of the first recovery groups that were in Katrina was the ASPCA.
mm-hmm,
And so they ran into the city as quick as they could because they knew people locked their animals inside their houses.
mm-hmm,
And so they were trying to like, go and rescue as many animals as they could. And
mm-hmm,
they like had to spray paint on doors and like you saw these ASPCA tags all over abandoned houses, which was really strange. But then one of the wildest stories from the first time I lived in New Orleans is
mm-hmm,
I was hanging out outside. I had just gotten done cooking all day at this crappy restaurant that I worked at, and I hear it's nighttime. I'm drinking and just being by myself. Mine is the only house. Mine is one of only two houses on the block that even have electricity, so it's almost completely pitch black everywhere.
mm-hmm.
I hear this sound off in the distance. It sounds like this. Ooh. Like, what the fuck is that? Ooh. What the fuck? So I get up, I walk down my steps, and I look down the street. About 2.5 blocks down is a working street light because most of them are all broken. And
Mm-hmm.
right underneath that street light is a fucking beagle, random beagle.
Oh my god.
And he's standing there and he ooh, howling. And he does it three more times. I'm like, what in the fuck is this dog doing? And then all of a sudden, something like 8 or 9 more dogs come running out from under all these other houses because they were all going scavenging. They all circle
Mm-hmm.
around with the beagle and then they all as a pack run off into the night. And they were all abandoned animals that like all dogs of all sorts of different breeds. And they all banded together into this pack and were just roaming the broken city looking for food. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen.
I guess that's like when Batman becomes a beagle. He's a beagle man.
Mm.
Has his little posse and just runs off into the night.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He was obviously the
Little
ringleader. Obviously. Oh.
dude, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Especially a beagle, because I'm imagining a beagle as like a very floppy friend, but it's like for him to be the ringleader is like okay.
It's crazy.
Now
It's
I'm now
nuts.
I'm now I'm intrigued. Like especially if I'm thinking of like other dogs that are more aggressive, like uh Rottweilers, pit bulls,
Well, if
more the traditional like German shepherds and things like that.
right. Well, one of the things that's really fascinating, there's some when it comes to dog breeds, big like aggressive quote unquote dogs,
Mhm.
like Rottweilers and German shepherds, that sort of thing. They
Mhm.
might be still bred for like their size and their power and that sort of thing. They're not
Mhm.
they're not hunting dogs anymore. They haven't been hunting dogs
No,
for
they're
a
not.
long time. Like the biggest
Mhm.
hunting dogs you can still get are like Akitas, maybe. But the
Mhm.
dogs that are still traditionally bred for and still have a lot of those predatory traits are things
Hmm.
like beagles and Jack Russell Terriers. Jack
Oh yes, yes.
those are hunting dogs. Like if you've
Hmm.
got a Jack Russell Terrier that comes from a hunting line, you can train them to go and get you rabbits. Those little fucking dogs will go shooting down a damn rabbit hole and drag a rabbit out, kicking and screaming bloody murder. Like they're
Hmm.
crazy dogs. They're really really like impressive with what they can do.
Oh
So,
yeah, especially I mean with me with my little pup. He's a little bulldog, and like,
aw.
dude, like I like a little English bulldog. I call him my little tank, and like he's like the cutest. He's the cutest little fur ball, but he acts not like his brothers and sisters. I mean, his line is pure, and there's no sense of inbreeding with him, which I was very thankful to have.
That's good.
But like when you think of hunting dogs, he'll literally go outside and just make friends with all the animals. I'm like, you are not Snow White. Stop it. And he'll just look. He'll give you like the Zoolander, like you know how Zoolander like quickly like turns to the camera.
Mhm.
That's how he'll look at you.
Mhm.
And I'll like you'll stare him down. I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know these are your friends. I know that's your girlfriend over there, and the squirrels are your best friends. But you need to stop.
He's giving
And he'll
you
just look
he's giving you
away.
blue steel like, "What?" So
Oh
cute.
yeah, like he'll just look away and throw his face in the air like I'm not trying to hear all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can see you. I know what you're doing.
That's great.
And he just, no, these are my friends. And then he'll try to invite them in. I'm like, they're not coming in, Oz. They're not gonna come in. Keep them outside.
That's so great. I love it. That's
Hmm.
amazing. Animals. So, you've got that dog. Do you guys have any other pets?
Actually, yeah. So today is my mom's dog's first birthday. So happy birthday to him.
Aw.
He is yeah, he's a dark lab and pit, blue nose pit. And he's a very like he's a fucking attention whore. Like that's not even an he's an attention whore.
Yeah.
And he loves curling. So like this morning, I when we were texting back and forth, I found them together, like curled up as like little brother and big brother. And Oz, which is Lee Harvey's his name, but we call him Oz. So Oz is holding little Blue like on his paw.
Yeah.
So imagine a little bulldog's paw holding a little like lab's body, just keeping him warm and just chilling as
Aw.
they're just snuggled up in some like blankets and pillows. I'm like, oh, have you guys made your little fort? And I took a picture of it and I sent it to my mom. I'm like, this is how Blue wakes up for his birthday with his big brother keeping him company. And she's like, aw. I'm like, this is what they do.
That's so
Oh, it's
cute.
adorable.
That is so damn cute. Do you guys have any cats?
Yes, so we have a plethora. So my sister, I'll go down the line. So my twin sister, she has a black cat named Anastasia, and she has another pet, which is an albino white hedgehog named Luna, and she's full albino, like red eyes and pure snow white spikes. And right now she's sleeping. My baby sister, she has a black and white cat named Baby Cat, but her real name's Eileen, but she chose Baby Cat.
Okay.
She has a turtle. She has a turtle named Turtle. Real
Okay.
original, but it's Turtle.
Yep.
She has Turtle. And then my mom obviously has her dog. And then I have my dog, which is obviously Oz. And if you can put his name together, you'll understand the joke there. But I have Oz, and then my mom has Blue, obviously. And it's very cute because sometimes you'll see like the cats come in and snuggle with the dogs. And I'm like, this is too fucking precious. Like, this is too fucking precious. Which is like which is really neat because all their personalities are different. Like Stacey's more shrill and doesn't want anyone really bothering her. She'll just mind her own. Like she's really like imagine like you were talking about the beagle. Like she's our pack leader. If
Yeah.
you were to pick any of the animals, that's the pack leader. She'll put the dogs in line. She'll put the other cat in line. She'll go up to somebody and just rub on them, wanting affection. Baby cat's just sporadic.
Yeah.
She's like she'll go and hide for a few hours and then come back out when it's dinner time or lunch or whatever. And when we get like little nibbles of food and then run off into the night, I'm like, okay, Shadow Cat, how fucking fun where you're going.
For
Going into the
sure.
next dimension and back. And then Blue will always be next to Ozzy. And those two are like in a way inseparable. Like it's kind of like how we say it. It's like a little brother, big brother relationship. Ozzy will instigate shit with Blue, and then they'll end up like going at it for a bit, like playfully, and then like Ozzy will just leave him alone, and then Blue will come chase him, wanting to play again. It's the cutest little thing. I'm like, oh, it's just too cute. And I remember when Blue was a little puppy, like he couldn't jump off the couch, he couldn't like really do anything without help. So what Ozzy would do was take him, like a mama would do, take him by his little scruff and just take him off the couch, put him back on the couch, and just help him kind of get around if we weren't around to help or if we couldn't reach in time. Like he was like taking on that role of like I said, like a big brother authority role, but still like a kid that never kind of grows up type of pet, and it's so adorable.
Yeah. That's adorable. That's cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I can ever bring myself to have another cat. I don't think I can. I don't know. Like if I ever moved to like the country, I think I could probably do like a barn cat, maybe.
Hmm.
Just outdoor cat sort of thing. But I could never
Hmm.
get really attached to a cat. Not ever again. It can't happen. I had my one cat that was like my best friend for a long time, went back and forth across the country with me multiple times. I had
Hmm.
somebody dump a cat on me, which became my cat's cat. Uh, and my cat passed away, and then I had my cat's cat for a long time. And then he
Hmm.
just got old on me, and he passed away. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I can do it again. I think I'm done forever. No more kitties.
I mean,
Can't do it.
in our family, we've that's okay. In our family, we've had so many pets. I mean, we've had like a street cat named Boo Boo. I mean, he was a beefy fucking cat, dude. Holy shit! Like this cat was so ripped. He didn't have any like he'd have fur, but it would be so well blend into his skin that you couldn't fucking tell because
Yeah.
his muscles would just be protruding outward. We're like, where have you been? And he would
Yes.
walk in like he owns it. He like imagine like a black and gray cat just walking in like he owns the place, just looking at you like, where's my food? You give him food, you give him water. He has a chunk of his ear missing. He's gotten like gotten into some obvious cat fights, and he just walks in, eats, looks at you, and walks right the fuck out. You're like, what?
Yeah,
Like, you okay?
he's just
No, you want to
this
chill out? You
swole fucking cat. You don't want to fuck with him. You're just like, okay, dude, just take whatever you want. Just get the fuck back out. Jesus Christ.
yeah,
Think that
it's
cat's gonna
original.
kick my
Well, original.
ass.
Literally, that's like again. This cat had like such big. I remember it clear as day.
Yeah.
He had such big fucking like legs, or what we would call his arms, but his like legs and shit. His chest was like strong. You could see outlines. This cat had a fucking 6-pack, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you're a cat. And he would just look at you with these bright electric eyes, come in, you give him, like, when my twin sister was very, very motherly to him, would try, like, coddling him, and he would just, like, look at her, like, no, don't touch me, and just start eating. And then as she's, like, petting him, trying to, like, nurse his wounds, he just wouldn't be fucked with it. And he would, like, again, just immediately walk out, like, he just striving with it and just leave, and we wouldn't see him for like a few weeks at a time. We're like, all right, I guess he's just I guess he's grown enough to take care of himself, I guess.
Should have
You know,
gotten that cat like on Instagram so it could start getting G Fuel
dude,
sponsorships and
that,
shit.
that dude, if the cat, I don't even know, honestly. I think if I had to think, Boo Boo was born when, like, in 03 or 4, I believe. So I don't even know if he would have made it to Instagram. I don't think Instagram was a thing back then.
Oh yeah.
If it was, I'm
Swole
sure we
cat.
would have taken pictures. But like, just it'd be like this cat could probably beat up Alex Jones and any other fucking person it could be. And I'm like, dude, this fucking cat, man.
That's awesome. That's too fucking funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Fuck. It's you know what? So Matt's in the chat and he says Jeff's
Mhm.
heart can't handle another cat. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I'm too fragile. My heart is not ready to devote to another animal. I've got Penny, which also it was Penny's birthday last night. It was her third
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Penny.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
I cooked her a big old chunk of pork shoulder for her birthday, and she was very happy.
Yeah, that's what we do when it's Ozzy's birthday, which it's funny because like we'll get him like those big I don't know if they sell them there, but we get those like fresh, whatever those fresh like tubes of food are. They come in different brands, but we'll get those and we'll like mix it in with his favorite treats and like mold it into like a cake. Put a little
Yeah,
candle and let him just like just like I would say almost like breathe onto the candle while he'll blow it out for him and take it out, and he'll have this massive bowl of like fresh meat and vegetables, and he fucking loves it. I'm like, all right, it's your birthday, chow down. You get to be fat today.
that's pretty badass. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Well,
Oh,
Ozzy's like
animals.
if you. Hmm?
Just, oh, animals.
Well, my animal, as if anyone's catched on, his real name's Lee Harvey, but we call him Ozzy. If you could put two to two together, you
Oh
can
yeah.
understand the joke in the innuendo. My dad's the one that named him. He's like, "We'll call him Lee Harvey." I'm like, "Dad, his name's Ozzy." Well, he could be called Lee Harvey Oswald. I'm like, "Dad, we are not naming my dog after the man that killed Kennedy." He's like, "It was an inside job." I'm like, "I don't care
Oh
what
God.
happened.
Oh no. Oh
Okay.
no.
This is not Kennedy." And then now it's a running gag that it wasn't Lee Harvey the person, it was Ozzy that did it. He was the sniper in that tower, and that's why no one suspected him.
I
He's a
believe it.
time traveling dog that went back in time and shot Kennedy for whatever reason that could have been. It varies.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, man. If only John Hinckley had been a better shot.
If John Hinckley could have, I mean, yeah,
Man, he had the chance to do something
Jesus.
really funny with his life, and God, just bad aim, bad aim.
I think I mean, even with that, like with every other presidential shooting, like Reagan got shot. I know Lenin's not a president, but he got shot. I mean, just weird. I don't know. It's weird to me. Those celebrity, I guess. I don't even know if a presidential person could be a celebrity theoretically,
Sure.
but sure, fuck it. It's like those little shootings. I just don't understand them.
What do you mean?
Like Lenin, like he got shot, right?
Yeah.
And the guy Chapman, I think it was Mark Chapman's his name,
Yeah, Mark David Chapman,
gave
yeah.
his reason why. Yep, he gave his reasoning. Well, I always wanted to be famous. Okay. The guy that shot Martin Luther, he did it for his reasoning. It's just the reasoning never really genuinely made sense. Like I could see, okay, you wanted to be famous, but was it really worth just throwing the rest of your life away? Was it really
Yeah.
worth it?
Yeah.
Like,
It's pretty like some of them do kind of make sense. I mean, if it's like for the politics, it makes sense. Politics, it makes sense if you're
mm-hmm,
willing to like really sacrifice yourself for like this one big thing and
mm-hmm,
shit. Like, I get that. I get the motivation behind it, but yeah, like mentally ill fucking Mark David Chapman, like yeah, just it's such a fucking whack ass thing. I don't know.
or what was that? The one that shot Reagan, because the actress I know is a lesbian, which is that one I truly don't make sense. The actress was a lesbian, and I don't know the man or the name of the man that shot Reagan or attempted to kill Reagan, but he did it because of Jonah Foster. Some
Jodie
Foster was the
Foster.
actress's name.
Jodie
Yeah,
Foster.
but
Yeah.
but she's a lesbian. I'm like, and he did it
Is she a
for
lesbian?
her, and it's like
I didn't think she was a lesbian.
I think she's a lesbian to my understanding,
Huh. Maybe.
and like he like
Oh
did it
shit,
for
she
her. I'm
is.
like,
Oh shit, she
yeah.
totally is. Oh fuck, I didn't even realize she's married to a woman.
Yeah,
Oh, crazy.
and that's why the guy shot Reagan. It's like, dude, you don't have a chance in hell. Stop it. Like, bro, like that one truly does not make a lick of sense to me. I'm like, why?
Well,
Like she doesn't even like men like that. Like,
I'm
so
pretty
why you even do
sure.
it?
I'm pretty sure that she didn't come out as a lesbian until well after that. Because I mean, this is like it was 1981 when he attempted to assassinate. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. There's some celebrities that were gay, and I know even my grandmother knew people in the 20s that were quote unquote pansies, and she knew they were gay. She
Yeah.
hung out with very influential people, and the pansy law did exist at one point, and they were very, everyone knew it, just you couldn't be very public with an appearance about it, which is, when I hear the stories of my grandmother when she was a model and her little gain of young activities, and just hearing it, I'm like, huh, that's really interesting. And she talked about this one boyfriend she had. He was as fruity as she said, he was as fruity as they come. But
Yeah.
he was a good guy, and he got in trouble with obviously being a pansy and stuff like that. But she didn't care because she accepted him. She knew he was gay, but she didn't care. It was what it was, and she just kind of did it just so he didn't have to be pestered about societal norms. In that regard, and also that pressure wise, he could just kind of fit in. I mean, they obviously didn't do anything, but it was like almost like a lavender marriage. That's what it's called, a lavender marriage. But they
Yeah.
weren't married, if that makes sense. Like she was helping him out, he was helping her out, type of thing. So it was mutual beneficial.
Right. Right. Somebody was asking if Matt was asking if Jodie Foster was underage at the time that Mark David shot. No, she was 19,
I don't know.
but it
Yeah, she was like young.
yeah, it is important to point out though, like Scorsese put her in Taxi Driver as a prostitute when she was 14. So kind of
That is true. That is very true.
kind of fucking weird, kind of crazy.
Wasn't Robert De Niro the I think, yeah, it was
Yeah,
Robert De Niro that played the actor,
yeah.
which
He
he's a
played Travis
fucking that
Bickle. Yeah,
he's a fantabulous actor. He did well good for Goodfellas. I love that movie. It's a good
yeah.
movie.
76. He was how old is he in 76? He was 33. Holy shit.
Oh, okay. That made me physically uncomfortable to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucked. Though I know Robert has always dated black women. He has a thing for African American women.
He's got the jungle fever.
He's got jungle fever. I think he's had his two ex-wives, his current wife, and I think he might have an ex-wife or two that were of darker complexion, which I
Mm.
knew.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I kind of hate Robert De Niro, sort of. I mean, he's an amazing actor, and like
Hmm.
there's some stuff that he really does that I think he does do some good shit with, but he
Hmm.
is an anti-vaxxer,
Oh yeah, I
and
believe it.
yeah, kind of drives me fucking nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I with my dad, like as my dad, and I mentioned this to you too, Jeff. Like with my dad being, I wouldn't say devoted follower, but listens to Alex, Mr. Jones, and
Mhm.
believes in all that anti-vaxxing shit. You almost like when I sit down with him and have a conversation of why and like what would you do if we never did, like why wouldn't have had you guys? I'm like, well then how would we have get an education? It's like, well I could have taught you. I'm like, that wouldn't have fucking worked. You have
No.
three young girls that require different needs. Though you could accommodate as best you can, you don't have the decree to educate differently, if that makes sense. Like granted, like he could do the best he can, but like school, I feel public school can offer a little bit more with better resources, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. It's a fantasy. It's a like there are very 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 few people who can actually pull that off. It
Hmm.
and it requires honestly it's a place of fucking privilege. It's a massive place of
Hmm.
privilege if you are able to raise your kids and take and homeschool them and all this and all that. Like most people can't fucking do that. They've got to like they have to fucking work, they
Yeah.
gotta figure out like, so many more so much other shit in the first place. And what's the most bizarre is that the reasoning that's given for why this needs to happen is all based upon fear that's instilled by somebody else lying to them. It drives me
Oh
so
yeah.
fucking crazy. I've been pretty
Yeah.
mad about that for a long time, but it's What can you even fucking do about it, right?
I mean, granted, my grandmother was born in 1903 when she was born, and she literally saw it all. I mean, that's considering my mom's mom, but she was born in 1903 and she saw it. She saw the Spanish flu and how it killed people. She saw, what was the other one? She saw polio. She saw
Hmm.
chicken pox. My mom had chicken pox. Like she saw all of that, and she always instilled in this belief of like medically just going more advanced. Like, and hence why my mom is so strong of making sure like, all her kids were vaccinated once they became regularized, and just that little like list you get for kids to,
Yeah.
to check off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember going like just have every few months getting that little like thing, and I would always be kind of confused. And then eventually my mom told me like those are your vaccinations. I'm like, oh. And then when we went to
Mm.
like private school, especially because those fuckers could be anti-vax too, and it's just that was the regulation. I remember at the time you had to have all the vaccines updated and to a T to even attend the first day, and if you didn't, well, then you couldn't participate.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, man. One of these days, I will defeat the anti-vaxxers. Nope, not gonna happen. Wah, 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 wah. Well, we only got
I mean,
a little bit more time left. Is there anything else you wanted to like tackle before we wrap up?
hmm, I mean, it's really up to whatever you want to talk about. I'm an open book, or whatever the chat would like to ask. I'm more than free to ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask. I It's so funny too because there's so we made friends in and you're in Michigan, and I also
Hmm.
ended up talking to a couple other friends that recently that I've been talking to, and they're in Wisconsin, and then a friend who actually is in Chicago. And it's crazy because usually when I do these tours that I'm getting ready to start doing, I end up doing
Hmm.
Route 66, which starts in Chicago. But like the year that I'm like making all these friends that are in the area of Chicago is the year that I'm not going there at all. Hands down,
Yep.
just
You
will
told.
not be anywhere
Yep.
near there. It's fucked up.
Yep. You told us that. I think it was like on the roundup. You just mentioned that I can't go to the East Coast. You guys need to tear down these cities. Da da da. I'm like,
Yeah.
please. I would love more space. Please allow me to do the first swing.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a crazy thing, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, most of my family. I mean, even my friends. I mean, one of my pen pals lives in Philly. The other one lives, in Indiana. The other one lives in northern Michigan. The other one lives in Canada. So it's like we're all in this little cluster of like too far away, but just in arm's reach. I'm like, why? Why do you fucking pull my leg, life? Why do you do this to me?
Why?
And sometimes we'll always get together, like me and the girl from or the wife, I should say, of one of my best friends. She and I and her family are all planning into going in this little greenfield village. It's just in the middle of Michigan.
Mhm.
It's imagine like the turn of the century, but encapsulated in a little remote area.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure.
That's so you have like farms with livestock and like cities that literally look like you just ripped them off of history. Like there's no cars. If there is a car, they're from the 1920s, like we discussed earlier.
Right.
And there's everything's by horse. Everything's just from either the 1900s to the 10s, and if at late the 20s, and that's just where it stays. And I'm like, I could really like this lifestyle. Like I really do care for it
Yeah.
because there's no like I would say I wouldn't say capitalism, but consumerism. There's no sense of that. It's
Right.
just living to your means. They have glass blowing, they have needle thread, they have blacksmithing. It's fucking a joy to go.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. God, I need to get back into learning how to do blacksmithing stuff. I just haven't gotten a chance
Oh, it's
to.
fun.
Yeah, I've got a forge, I've got an anvil, I've got like a bunch of stuff to like work on, but I've been so crammed and busy with everything that I've got to get going and get ready before this tour season. There's just not a time where I can set everything up and fuck around with it for like 5 or 6 hours and then put it away. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a bummer. It is what it is. And also, somebody sent me the most ridiculous fucking thing I think I've ever seen. Okay. Apparently, well, I don't know if there's a way that I can show you. Yeah, I think there is actually. Here, I'm gonna send you this link, and then I'm gonna put it up on the stream because I want this thing.
Okay.
I think I need this thing. Here, ooh, shit. Sorry, I just punched the microphone.
Don't worry.
Let's see here. Capture card on.
Let me see.
I think I need this thing. It's a tank.
It is a tank.
It's like a little mini tank. I think I need that. I think I fucking need
Dude,
that.
that'd be so fucking badass. You just stroll up to McDonald's and that.
Yeah.
I'm here to order, and then you just order shit, and then like you go to the window and oh, hi, and then they just tell you the total. You just slowly, you can't reach it. Just the money flows away. No.
Yeah, that's a great. It's $1,700 though. I don't have $1,700. Son of a bitch.
Listen, if
12
money wasn't an option, it'd be more than worth the fucking laughs.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. 1,200 if you don't need the trailer, but that's a pretty fucking badass trailer too. Anyway, I need to not be distracted by that, but somebody had to like send that to me and was like, "Dude, this is important. You need to look right now." And I'm like, "Fuck. What, did somebody die?" And no, it was a tank. It was a little
No.
fucking tank.
Actually, OJ Simpson died today, or actually a few days ago.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the man that committed those 2 murders. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, and that means now he can't sue me for calling him a fucking murderer. Yeah.
Yeah, he died at 76 from cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rest in piss. Oh well. All right.
Yep.
Well, so for everybody out there that's watching live, we're gonna bounce, and hope you guys all have a good time. You say bye, Sarah.